Hi, today I'm going to show you how I make Greek yogurt at home. To start with, we need 2.5 quarts of whole milk. I prefer organic whole milk, and 5 tablespoons of starter yogurt. This is from my last batch. And I've been keeping this is probably almost like the 10th generation. I'm not quite sure, I haven't counted, but it's exceeded what I thought was possible. Many generations of yogurt. So I've got this saucepan here, this pot, and I've poured 2.5 quarts of the whole milk into this pot. And it's on the heat. And I gotta heat it up to about 185 degrees. If it gets to 200, it will boil, and that will make a huge mess. So I gotta make sure I keep tabs on the temperature here with the thermometer. I've learned that it takes about 20 minutes to get to the proper temperature, and right now it looks like it's about 150 degrees. So my timer says 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go. So when it gets up to 185 or 190, we will take it off the heat. Okay, my 20-minute timer is off. It's gone off, and the temperature of our milk is at about 190. I'm gonna let it get up a little bit higher and then take it off the heat. So we need to warm up this milk in order to kill whatever, we're killing something. I don't know what we're killing, but it needs to be heated up to about 185 degrees. It should be good now. If it gets up to 200, it will boil over and make a huge mess. So it's a very narrow window, and it boils really quickly. When it starts to go, it boils fast. So that's probably about good. So I'll take off the heat. Here we go. Heat is off. And then we're gonna let it cool down to 115 or 120 degrees. 120 degrees is where we want it to be. 120, 115. So let it cool down. Keep this thermometer in there. And it's gonna take about 2 hours or so to get down to 120. And then we'll be ready for the next step. So as you can see, I didn't record the beginning of this, but I got 2.5 quarts of just whole milk. I like fatty yogurt. So it's whole milk. You can make it with 2%, although I've only done that once, I think. So I can't guarantee the success, but I use whole milk, and this method has worked out really well. So we'll come back in 2 hours or so, and when this gets to about 120 degrees, and take the next step. In the meantime, I have my starter again right here, coming out of the fridge. I'm gonna mix this in with it. So I'm gonna let it just sit at room temperature, warm up a little bit, and because eventually this is going in here, and that contains the cultures which are going to incubate in this milk. Okay, see you in 2 hours. Okay, it's a little while later, and the temperature is now just about 120 degrees. So that is the time and the temperature at which we add our starter yogurt to our milk. Now, what I've done is add a little milk to the starter so you can thin it out before you mix it in. So I'll take a few spoonfuls of this milk and add it to this starter, which again is just yogurt. If you don't have a starter, you can just buy a single serving of yogurt. I prefer, Greek whole yogurt, and then you can use that as your starter. 5 tablespoons in this case, which equates to 2 tablespoons per quart of milk. So I have 2.5 quarts of milk in this pot. That means 5 tablespoons of starter yogurt that I have measured out and set aside for this process. So stir it up. Don't stir it up too aggressively, or else you can kill what you don't want to kill. And then we'll take this. I might need 2 hands, but we'll take this and we'll just dump it out in here. That's mostly out. We'll give it a good stir, a good gentle stir. And what we want to do now is keep it at that temperature, about 120, 115, 120, for 4 hours so it can incubate. So the way I do that is I put this in this cooler, and I have my own personalized method of keeping it. It just barely fits in there. Keeping it at this temperature. Again, it's 100, just shy of 120, 115. I'm going to close this for now. And I have some water here that I've boiled. I'm going to just bring it back up to a boil in this kettle. And I pour it in these bottles. This is my own personalized method. And then fill those bottles with the boiling water and put the bottles in the cooler. So stand by for that. Okay, this water just reached a boil. Kettle turned itself off. I take the kettle and I fill up these glass Scotch bottles that work very well for this purpose. And again, this is just to keep the temperature warm inside the cooler where the yogurt is now incubating. I've tried a couple different methods of this, but this is the way that has worked the best for me. We just want to keep that yogurt at 115 degrees for minimum 4 hours. And you can leave it for 24 hours or longer. And the taste will be affected a little bit. It might get tangier the longer you let it incubate. But really, 4 hours minimum, and I suppose, I don't know what the maximum would be, but I've left it for a day. Now, put this right in here, and this one right in here. All right, so there we go. Got our yogurt, some water bottles to keep them warm, and we're gonna leave this on the counter in this cooler for at least 4 hours, and we'll see you afterwards. Okay, so it's probably about 11 hours later, and my daughter's asleep, so I'm whispering a little bit. And here is the cooler, and it should be basically yogurt now. Let's open it up and check it out. Still pretty warm. Temperature is still 100 degrees. I can't flip this camera. Let me stop. Okay, so still 100 degrees. Get a good look there. And we should basically have yogurt. Let's take this thing out. Alrighty. Okay, and set it down here. And take this thermometer out. And there we go. It's a little bit jiggly, but that's yogurt. And what we're gonna do now is put it in the fridge. And in the morning, I will strain it. So here we go. Here's the fridge. And we'll make some space up here. Okay, and there it will be until tomorrow morning. Okay, it's the next morning, and we're gonna get the yogurt out of the fridge. Here it is. Alrighty. Whoa. Alright, there's our yogurt. It's been chilling, and the next step is to strain it. Now, I probably could have strained it last night, but I don't know if it makes a difference to cool it first. It's just become my habit to cool it first and then strain it. And this is the way I strain it. I use a colander, but you need more than a colander. You need some cheesecloth like this. I get this from Amazon. I don't know what the label is. No label, but it's cheesecloth, and I cut it into squares, usually just one at a time. This is. Okay, I just cut the proper size, so it's about, this big. It's just enough to sit in this colander, and then we pour here it is, yogurt right on top of that. I usually use 2 hands for this, but Oh, yeah, I'm using the one hand to
I ate
hold this phone.
extra ball nerds from my bowl.
And there is our yogurt. It is.
Dad!
And here it's, you see where it's coming out where I didn't have the cheesecloth, but that's okay. And this is the whey draining off. This is less than ideal, this bit, but that's okay. All right, so this will drain for, you know, a few hours. I can leave it all day and it'll result in really thick yogurt. Oh! But there it is, yogurt. It's the straining that makes it Greek yogurt. This process that makes it Greek yogurt. You strain the whey off of it. And then you get nice, thick, creamy Greek yogurt up here. Okay, we're gonna get the strained yogurt out of the fridge. It's somewhat strained. It's been maybe an hour. You can leave it in there all day if you like. It's kind of strained. You see what the bottom of this looks like. That's whey, and we don't need it. We're just gonna dump it down the drain. And I could really let this strain again all day if I wanted to, and it would get thicker and thicker and thicker. But it's already thicker than it was an hour ago, and I'm just gonna. I would normally let it sit a little longer, but for the sake of this video, I'm expediting this process. So this is like medium thickness. Sometimes it's so thick, I mean, it really doesn't even, it all comes out in one giant plop sometimes. But here we go. And of course, you know, the more of it you let the strain, the less volume you have. There you go. I got a bowl full of yogurt. And I spilled a little bit of it, as you can see. There we go. Normally, I'd, again, let it strain for a little longer. This is the whey that we don't need anymore. Down the drain. And next is to put it in a bowl with some other stuff. Like some blueberries. I like frozen blueberries. I just zapped them for 30 seconds in the microwave. So this is blueberries, yogurt. You see what we got here. Get a feel for the texture here. And just scoop it up here. I like to put some chia seeds in there. Get in there, chia. There we go. And I got some hemp seeds. This is turmeric. And lastly, we have some honey. Honey. All right, so now we got blueberries, yogurt, chia seeds, hemp seeds, turmeric, and honey, and that is a good breakfast. Enjoy.